Walking through my neighborhood, I wondered why my life couldn't be as interesting as anime, manga and novels. My life is so boring compared to anime characters. I also want to go to another world with overpowering abilities. Beat up some villain, capture some heroine, and fall in love. Thinking about this makes me depressed. You might be thinking, why is this guy raving about? If you are an anime fan or a general anime enthusiast, you might come across the genre called isekai. In a nutshell, isekai involves a character being transported to a new world and learning to survive there. In the process, he or she gains support, love, friends, etc. As he was walking, he came to a crossroads. Let's go this way today. I should change my destination sometimes. I start walking through the footpath. Quite the traffic here today, I thought. Suddenly a loud sound of a motorcycle came from behind. I paused to see who this guy was who was dumb enough to drive his bike on the footpath. A guy was driving his motorcycle through the road without tension. This guy suddenly paused, saw traffic up ahead, and saw the footpath was clear, so he thought, why not I run my bike through the footpath? So, I don't have to wait for the traffic and my bike is fast enough to get away from the police as well. Damn, this guy is crazy. I jumped on the road to avoid getting hit by the bike. If I had been any slower, I would have got some broken bones or in the worst case death. It's because of guys like this that so many accidents occur. Just when I was about to continue my evening walk, I heard a truck sound coming from my left side and saw that the crazy biker guy's bike was stuck in the truck and now that truck was coming my way. I was baffled to see that suddenly a truck came out of thin air crushing the bike, and now heading towards me. Fuck. I tried jumping away from the truck, but it was too late. Boom. In an unknown place, two beings were quarreling with each other. Damn it, Truck-kun, I said you could only have one soul from my world. How did the number increase by one? The goddess scolded. I am sorry, the truck I inhibited this time had a brake failure and this happened. A being called Truck-kun apologized. The goddess, speechless, asked, why didn't you use your power at that time? We could easily avoid this mess. You told me not to use any power except to inhabit the truck, Truck-kun replied. Where did you get that truck from? The goddess inquired. There was a garage nearby, so I took it from there, Truck-kun said. So, what will you do? Truck-kun asked. The goddess stated, I can't do anything now. If I had noticed it earlier, I could have prolonged his life enough to get his treatment, but now it's too late to do anything, that child is already dead. Then let's give him the same treatment. As we are giving all the targets, it will not matter if we add one more name to that list, Truck-kun said, shrugging his shoulders. The goddess sighed in exhaustion. The goddess said, I will talk with this child. You go to the other child. Are you sure about that? Truck-kun said, taken aback. What's the problem with that? The goddess told in slight irritation. No, I mean this will be your first time granting wishes, right? Truck-kun asked. Yeah, what of it? Goddess asked, narrowing her eyes. Don't look at me like that, I was just shocked. You, of all the gods, who disdain others, calling it a childish game, joining in, Truck-kun said, glancing at the now dead kid's body. Anyway, you do understand what it will signify, right? Truck-kun looked at the goddess, hoping for confirmation. I know what will it mean. Hearing those words he wanted to hear, Truck-kun has a big smile on his face. I wonder what those other bastards will think when they find this out. It will be fun to see their reaction. Truck-kun thought while smiling. Anyway, poor kid will probably have a hard time. Well, nothing I can do about it. Thinking, Truck-kun went his way. Unknown location. So, am I dead? Huh. The last thing I know is that I had an accident. Who would have thought just a change of direction would be the cause of my death? Now that I think about it, it was a truck. Oh, I remember that biker guy too was hit by the truck. Did the legendary Truck-kun come for my life? In anime, manga, and novels, when it comes to the isekai genre, most isekai happens because out of nowhere a truck comes and crashes with the main character and sends him or her to a new world. I mean, just the idea of a truck that kills people in their original world and sends them to a new one is a wet dream for most, if not all, anime fans. Now that I look at my surroundings, it's all white. Just by looking at this place, I know where this is going. So, where is this Rob guy? Is he running late or something? Until this Rob guy came, I started checking my body. The last thing I remembered was my body was crushed by the Truck-kun. Looking at myself, I can see through my hand. Am I in my astral body or something? This reminds me of the Doctor Strange movie, where using his sorcery he can separate his astral body from his main body temporarily. How long do I have to wait here? Suddenly, I was able to see an outline of a body coming in front of me. Yeah, outline. I could only see the outline. I almost thought that my eyes had a problem. Then a gentle soothing voice came, "Do not force yourself, my child, your soul is not strong enough to understand our existence. Even if you try, it's futile. The very thing that you can even perceive me, tells me that you have a strong soul." Who are you?" I asked cautiously. "Hello, my child, I am Goddess Earth. I am the god of this world you lived up until now. I must, unfortunately, inform you that you have died because of my colleague's blunder." Hearing that it was an accident, it already feels like an isekai plot. "Then what will happen to me?" I asked. "Normally your soul should have gone through a reincarnation cycle, where your soul would get judged. But your death happened because we were not paying attention. So, I will give you the same chance as the other child." "Other child, do you mean that biker guy?" "Yes," the goddess said. "Is he also getting isekai'd?" I asked the goddess. "Yes, originally only he was supposed to get hit by the truck, but because of my colleague's carelessness, you died." "Does your colleague go by Truck-kun by any chance?" I asked out of curiosity. "Yes, have you heard of him?" There are no anime fans out there who have not heard of Truck-kun. Goddess looked at me knowingly. Did she just read my mind? "So, now you must choose either, I will send you back to the reincarnate cycle or you can go to another world." Without any delay, I said, I chose the second option. My, you did not even hesitate," the goddess said. "Well, for an anime fan like me, it's a dream come true, so I did not take any chances. Who knows if I will ever get a chance like this again?" "So does this mean I get wishes?" I asked with enthusiasm. "Yes, you would normally get 3 wishes, but because you died from a blunder on our side, I will grant you an extra wish. Therefore, you get 4 wishes." Before I wish, can I ask some questions about the range of wishes?" I asked the goddess. I had to know what the limits of these wishes are. "Go on," the goddess stated. "Can I ask for any wish? Are there limits to the wishes?" I hurriedly asked. Goddess fell silent for a few seconds thinking something. Did I ask the wrong question? I thought to myself. The goddess, coming to a decision, answered. "If your wish is not possible, I will state so. Here I go then. My first wish. I want a super adaptable body that can adapt to any situation, substance, mental and physical. I will get into. Okay, next. I want the essence of the blank. With this my potential will be infinite." Reading my mind, goddess looked at me amusingly. "Next. I want the essence of the archmage. With this I will be able to use all magic systems. And now your final wish. I want the power and all the skills of Rihido Ba'a from the anime Plunderer. With this I should be set for fighting abilities." "All right, that should do," goddess stated. "So, which world are you sending me into?" I questioned. Goddess thought for a moment and spoke. "How about the world as the last anime you watched?" "You mean Arifureta?" I asked the goddess. "Yes. All right, please. I hope you have a pleasant second life," saying that she sent me my way. And just like that my second life started. After I sent the child his way, I thought, infinite potential, huh? How many beings out there in this vast omniverse had the same thoughts as that child? Most are never able to reach us even with infinite potential. It means nothing if you are unable to realize your potential, and with infinite potential the hurdle is even higher. I wonder if he will be able to survive there. If he survives, then the real thing will start. Will someone be qualified this time? The goddess wondered to herself, staring at the place where the child previously stood. From the beginning of time, there have been only 2 beings out there who have reached the same power as us. I wonder if that child also will. Chapter end. Hello guys, this is my first time writing a fanfic. So, I hope you will take a liking to my story and please give me a review. So, I would know if my story is any good. Thank you. RoneGreninja creators thoughts. 16 comments, 0 vote. Chapter 1, The Beginning. New World. A young boy writhed on his bed. The morning light that seeped through the window curtain to the left of his bed shined upon him, illuminating his fair face, his disheveled medium black hair, his black shirt-clad body that was no longer covered by the duvet he kicked off during the struggle, and the glimmering sweat that covered his entire body. Suddenly, the young boy jumped in a fluster and sat up with a gasp, for air. What was that? A sharp pain suddenly assaulted his mind, hitting him like an intense migraine. He clenched his eyes shut and teeth together, and held either side of his temple tightly, trying to withstand the pain. But the pain suddenly subsided as swiftly as it appeared as a soothing, warm sensation washed away the pain as if it never happened. Taking a deep breath. He finally understands his situation. Looking at his surroundings. This is my room. Unsure of where is he in this new world. He hoped it'd be Japan. If it's not, it will be a big headache. Then he notices that his new body is that of a young boy. I thought I was supposed to be born as a newborn baby. Instead, I am in a body who just started his adolescent period. It's not like I am complaining. It's far better than being stuck in a toddler's body. This body age should be at 11 to 12 years. But why I do not have any memories of this body? Perplexed, he looked around the room. Then, he suddenly noticed a shining letter on the top desk beside his bed. The letter was glowing in a golden light, pulsating rhythmically. As soon as he laid eyes on it, he felt a strange urge to grab the clearly suspicious letter. If I am not wrong, my questions and answers should be in this letter, he muttered to himself. I then hesitantly stepped towards the letter. Just when I was about to touch the letter, it burst into light and shot towards my head. Then, suddenly the second wave of pain assaulted me again. I somehow was able to get to the bed and fainted. 2 hours later. I awoke with an understanding of my current situation and sighed in relief because I was in Japan. 70% of my headache is gone just like that. Oh, by the way, my name is Rihito Sakai, or should I say Sakai Rihito now? If I know correctly, Japanese people keep their family name first then their given name. I kind of feel strange, for a former Indian who kept his given name first and family name after. Also, I found out that from the beginning, I was born as Rihito Sakai. I didn't take over his body, my consciousness was just suppressed, and my body was in some kind of autopilot mode, until this day. That letter only told me that my body was going through an adjustment. Let's think about this later. Then suddenly a masculine voice came from outside of my room. Knock knock. Rihito, breakfast is ready, come down. I replied naturally. Coming, Dad. If you are thinking what happened to the letter. Well, it turns into information and I absorb it. I don't know either, my abilities are currently dormant inside me, they will unlock after I reach Tortus. That means no super speed, no magic for now, sigh. Let's head down. I got up from my bed and headed towards the bathroom to get freshened. Honestly, I was a little excited to see my current looks. I got down from stairs and then headed straight towards the bathroom. When I looked in the mirror, the face that looked back at me was that of the Rihito from anime. It looked like I gained not just his power but also Rihito's looks as well, medium black hair, crimson color eyes, fair skin, and baby face. I will be quite the looker in the future. Rihito, come faster, breakfast will get cold, and you will be late for school. I am coming. I replied. After I had done my morning ritual, I headed towards the dining room. I opened the dining room door and greeted my father. Good morning, Dad. My father greeted me back with a gentle smile. Good morning. Then, I sat down beside him. Just as I thought, my father looked like him. If you are wondering who, it is Schmelmanbach, or should I say Sakai Schmelman. Long blonde hair, a fair face, and eyes closed, probably hiding his crimson eyes. In the Plunderer anime, Schmelman is a tragic character. His mother abused him when he was little, he lost his wife, and just when he adopted Rihito as his son everything went to shit. He tried to save his students and adopted son Rihito from a tragic future but was unable to save them. He jumps through time over and over just so that he can get to a future where he does not have to lose his students. But, I am in Arifurata, not in Plunderer. He might be a normal human in this world. I will just hope I am not jinxing myself. Honestly, it will be a huge mess if this world is merged between Arifurata and Plunderer. Just think about it, a pre-apocalyptic world where the world is about to go war for supplies. Yeah, I did not sign in for that shit. I put my chopsticks down and prayed, thank you for the food. Dad, I will be heading for school. Wait up, you still have not called me that yet, my father said with a teasing smile. That? What do you mean? Then I remember a particular memory. The memory of my first time meeting with my dad. It was the day he adopted me. Dad, do I have to say that? I looked at Schmelman, who was anticipatedly looking at me. Just thinking about that word embarrasses me to no end. Come on, you can do it, my father keeps urging me. Fine, I caved in. Papa. Are you happy now? I was holding back my embarrassment. Father started to walk towards me, just when I thought there would be more embarrassment. Father hugged me. I was stunned for a moment. It was not the first time someone hugged me. In my previous life I had friends and family. I was no protagonist, who lost his family or got trauma. I was nothing special, an ordinary boy with ordinary circumstances. Who was going with the flow hoping to get a good job, and have my own family someday. Unknowingly tears came out. Am I crying? Why? Then, I realized that I was dead in my past world, which meant I would not be able to see my family again, my mother, father, and little brother. I tried to stop crying but my dad said it was okay to cry, it is not good to keep bottling it up inside, you do not have to hold back in front of me. So, I stopped holding back. I cried for my family and friends, I cried because I knew, I might never be able to see them again, the whole time my dad was hugging me and soothing me. Please somebody kill me, I screamed inside my head. After that, I stopped crying, the embarrassment hit me like a bullet train. Even my ears turned red. What will you feel when a 19-year-old guy cries like a baby? So awkward I just grabbed my bag and bolted out of my house. I was off to school, and I ran away as I screamed. I heard Dad saying be careful. After I was far away from my house, it finally dawned on me that I was a middle schooler, meaning I must go to school again. Damn it, why I must go through that hell again? Wasn't one time not enough? I will just have to grit my teeth and endure it, there nothing else to it. As I came in front of classroom 1A. I entered class, and a few girls looked at me and blushed. But I was not in the right mind to notice it. I was thinking, if this world is a merger between Arifurata and Plunderer, many things might differ from the original story. I mean, just my existence will change things. It doesn't matter if I want it or not. So, their only thing to do is get stronger no matter what, I proclaimed to myself. Just as I was thinking, class started. After classes had ended, instead of going home I went towards a small hill near the town. I went to the center of the hill just so that no one could see me. By the way, after a bit of snooping around, I found out this city is called Seinen City. I tried to remember a city named like that from my previous life, but to my distress I got nothing. Sighing, I looked ahead. This place should do. Currently, all the powers of the original Rihido should be out of option. Then there is no mention of Archmage and blank. In that letter, there was no mention of it. Doesn't matter, sooner or later I have to start training anyway, it's better to focus on my training for now. For starters, I will do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and 10 kilometers run. For me who wants to become strong, this regiment is a must. I nodded to myself. I mean, there are many guys out there who followed this regiment and became the strongest in their world. I will follow in their footsteps. Yeah. Let's do this. I hyped myself. From then on, I started doing this regimen every single day. Chapter end. 11 comments 0 vote. Chapter 2, Meeting Hajime. I started my training, and I was surprised to say that my workouts were not as hard as I thought. At first, I needed clarification as to why I was not very tired. I should be huffing and puffing like crazy. I had prior experience with this regiment, and after going through that regiment once I knew I should have been tired by now, but I only had a light fatigue. It took me about 2.5 hours to complete the regiment. It might be because of my ever-adapting body I wished for. After that it was getting late, so I headed home. It's been a week since then. Currently, I am meditating to feel my ki. You might be thinking, why ki, why not mana? Well, I tried but I felt nothing. So, I switched to ki instead. I broke out of my meditation and thought, today was a failure too, huh? Am I missing something? A sudden voice came from my back. What are you doing sitting here alone? Oh, Dad, nothing, I was just meditating, I replied to my dad. Meditation, since when did you start meditation? Dad asked. About a week, I replied. Dad raised his eyebrow. Why are you meditating? I have never seen you meditating before, is there a problem I should know about? Dad asked. Well, you see, I recently watched a martial arts anime where the main character trains and becomes the strongest. After watching that anime, I was motivated. I also want to be strong enough to protect myself. I looked at my dad with determined eyes. Is that it? Dad asked me. Yes, do I need more? Silence fell for a minute. In that moment no one talked. I observed Dad was in a thinking posture, and after about a minute he spoke. Then how about I train you? Dad said. My eyes widened. You know how to train people? Dad laughed after hearing my response. Did you forget what my job is? Oh right, I almost forgot, you are higher up in the military. Not just a higher up, I was a soldier, I have a Medal of Honor, you know, Dad said with pride in his voice. So, would you like me to train you? Yes, yes, please, I replied enthusiastically. Before that, how about calling me that again? Hearing what my father wanted me to say, my whole body froze in embarrassment. My next words came out in reflex. Hell no. I closed my eyes in embarrassment. It then dawned on me that I unconsciously had cursed in front of my father. Rihito, I think we need to have a little talk. Dad was looking at me with a smiling face, but why didn't his smile reach his eyes? Is this the legendary Oni face that I have seen in many animes? That's scary. I snap back to reality and apologize. I'm sorry, Dad. Dad gently looked at me and said, I will accept your apology after we have a little chat. That day I swore I would never curse in front of Dad again. Next day, my dad started my training. At first Dad asked what exercise I normally do, and I answered him with a smug face. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and 10 kilometers run. That should be right for now. Okay, Rihito, as your father I will teach you all the martial arts and weapon techniques that I know. Are you ready for all the hardship that is about to fall upon you? This time Dad looked at me with open eyes. I didn't expect him to open his eyes in this situation. From what I know and have seen, it was extremely rare for Dad to open his eyes in front of people, so I was stunned for a moment. Those crimson eyes looked at me like they were looking right into my soul. My whole body stiffened in fear, and I felt a huge pressure on my body. Then my father's voice came, answer me, Rihito. My father commanded. I somehow calmed myself, half-cryingly answered him, yes, I am ready for all that is about to come. For a few minutes, father looked at me, just when I was about to pass out. Two hands gently catch me in mid-fall. I am sorry, I had to be sure that you had the resolve yourself or not. In a fight, resolve is one of the most essential things you need. You showed me that you have resolved yourself. Take a good rest for today because from tomorrow your training will start. After telling me that, Dad looked at his watch. Oh, it's getting late, I will make dinner now. After that Dad left for the kitchen. I was thinking, those words Dad said, you have to resolve yourself. My determination grew, and that day I swore that I would learn everything Dad could teach me. I will master them all. Arifurata, Plunderer, none of that matters, only thing that matters is how strong I can get. After that day Dad taught me martial arts, swordsmanship, spearmanship, polearm handling, marksmanship, club handling, and many more weapons. According to Dad, in a real fight anything and everything can be a weapon, you just have to identify it and utilize it at the right time. If you can do that, your chance of winning a fight will drastically increase. Of course, this type of fighting style should be initiated only when you are in a life-threatening situation. Time skip. It's been 2 years since my training with Dad started. If you ask me to describe the training, I have only one word to say, hellish. There is nothing else to it. I also found out I am extremely good with swords, especially odachi, which became my primary weapon to train. At first, my training was going fine, but after a week or so my training intensity skyrocketed. It might be because Dad found out my body is more resilient than others, so he is pushing me to my limits. I also kept improving and we also found out the current limit of my body. After a certain amount of time, my body stopped growing stronger. I was puzzled, and then I realized most of my powers were sealed. It's only natural my current body had limits, and I will get stronger soon enough, it is only a matter of time. By the way, I still am not able to sense mana, but I made progress on the key. I tried to control it but it kept slipping away like a fish in water. Just when I am about to get a hold of it, it slips from my grasp. Honestly, it's getting frustrating. Oh, on a side note, I found the protagonist of Arifurata, Hajime Nagumo. Who would have thought he and I go to the same junior high? You think it's a coincidence? I think not. Anyway, Hajime and I became good friends. What do you expect when two otakus meet? It can go two ways, either we will clash or become friends, and I chose the latter. He and I became the best buddy. Hajime was a loner. Well, it was not like everybody disliked him or anything, he just had his priorities straight. He already knew what he wanted to be, so he focused on it. So I asked him what he wanted to be in future, and he told me that his father is a game designer and his mother creates girls manga. He is already working as part-timer where his parents work. I didn't know this bastard was living his dream. So, I did what I needed to do. I bowed my head exaggeratedly and said, "Please master, teach me your ways." All the nearby students started gossiping seeing me bowing in front of Hajime. Hajime panicked after seeing me pull this stunt, so he hurriedly asked what I meant by that. I told him I also wanted to learn about game designing and creating manga. He asked why didn't I ask him like a normal person. I told him, where is the fun in that, and hearing me say that Hajime put his hand on his forehead and groaned. After school, I met with Hajime's parents. They were happy to know that their son made a friend, and then they started telling me about his embarrassing past. I talked with them about how I also want to do part-time work like Hajime and gain some experience. They warned me it would be tough. I assured them I already knew about it, and after thinking for a few minutes they accepted. I thanked them for accepting my request. Now I have to convince Dad. It took me quite a while but he accepted, and I had to use my secret weapon, Tisk. On another note, my training time was shortened but that's fine. I already learned most of the things Dad taught, I just have to practice it to perfection. That can be done in my free time. Now I train and work under Hajime. He teaches me how things work on designing software and how to draw manga. Honestly, it was fun to work on something you are passionate about. My father also met with the Nagumo family. Everything was going happily but Hajime's mother asked about my mother. Well, things became a little awkward, but everything came normal when I explained that I was adopted. My mother had died before I was adopted and because Dad loved my mother very much, so he didn't marry again. Hearing this the whole Nagumo family was in tears. Hajime's mother hugged me saying, "You poor child," and Hajime's father patted my dad on the back. It must have been hard for you after your wife died. You do not have to be sad anymore from now on, you both are part of the family. After hearing that I looked at my father in shock. He was as calm as ever. Then, we had dinner. On our way home with an imperceptible smile, Dad said, "You made a good friend." I replied with a smile, "I know." Chapter end. 12 comments 0 vote. Download the app for greater interaction. You can chat with me about my writing experience apart from the comments section. RoneGreninja. Download app now. Chapter 3. Spar with Yagashi Shizuku, 1/2. It's been a month since I had dinner at Hajime's house. Today, I and Hajime will start our first day at high school. So, I went to his home to wake him up. I knew if I didn't he would be late, that's why I was 1 hour early. Honestly, I am such a good friend. You might be thinking then why do I have a mischievous smile? Because I like pranking him, it is fun watching him panic, he. On a side note, I think I have a little bit of the original Rihito personality in me. Why? Because of what I remember from my previous life. I was not a prankster, but originally Rihito was. I was relieved that I got his mischievousness, not his pervertedness. Anyway, let's calm now. Knock knock, I was waiting for the door to open. Hajime's mother Sumair opened the door for me. "Good morning auntie," I came to wake Hajime. "Good morning to you too Rihito, come in, Hajime might still be asleep," auntie said. "I know," I replied. "That's why I came early, I can't have him late on the first day of high school. So, I gonna go and wake him up, prank him," auntie nodded, and then I went towards his room. As I entered his room, I saw him sleeping on his desk. He passed out while working. So as a good friend, I took his laptop, saved all the work he did and put his laptop away. He, this will be fun. I rubbed my hands against each other for more friction and heat. Then I smacked him in his back. Smack. A loud crisp sound came from his back which indicated that it was a perfect hit. Hajime, feeling the sudden pain in his back, woke up with a jolt and screamed, "Ah." "Wakey wakey Hajime, it's time to go to school," I said with a mischievous smile. "Damn it Rihito. How many times do I have to tell you not to wake me up like that?" Hajime exclaimed. "I tried but you didn't wake up," I told him and looked away. "Don't lie to me, and look me in the eye when you say that," Hajime said in annoyance. As you can see by his reaction, this is not the first time I have done this to him. "Get ready, today is a big day, it's our first day of high school." He sighed seeing my mischievous smile and said, Yeah, I'm gonna get ready and go outside." On our way to school. "Damn it, how hard did you hit me? It still hurts," Hajime whined. "That's the point, it should hurt or there will be no fun." Hearing Rihito's reply, Hajime sighed again. "Are you still training with your dad?" Hajime asked. "Yeah, you see these muscles, this didn't come because I was sitting around all day," said Rihito. Stop jabbing me," Hajime groaned. "I am not jabbing, I am spitting facts, it's not my fault you refuse to exercise. I keep asking you to train with me but you keep rejecting me," said Rihito. "No, I am good as I am now," with a contained look Hajime said. I just looked at him with dull eyes. "Well, I tried. It's not my fault what will happen in the future. At the very least I won't let him die." So, we are now high schoolers feeling any different? Rihito asked. I just want school to end, it's a huge pain to go to school, Hajime replied. I know, Rihito replied. They finally reached their new high school. As they entered, many students were also entering. Some talking to their friend, and some waiting for their friends to come. Hajime and I went towards the notice board to find our classes. Damn, there are too many people here. After waiting for a minute, we were finally able to find out our class number. We were in the same class as well. Let's go, it's class 1B, Hajime and I headed towards our assigned class. You know they don't change classes yearly, I told Hajime. That's one less pain to deal with, Hajime replied. As we entered the bustling classroom, I checked if all the key players were in this class, but they still hadn't arrived yet, bummer. What are you dilly-dallying about? Let's go to our seats, Hajime said. Which one is mine? I asked. The second from last by the window is yours and the third is mine. Our seats are back to back. It will be easy to pull pranks on you, Rihito said in glee. Hajime just sighed after hearing that he had just accepted his fate. Please give me a break. Just as we took our seats, 4 people entered the class, specifically 2 girls and 2 boys. They were finally here, I exclaimed in my head. Why I was excited because they were the main cast including Hajime specifically. Kaori Shirasaki, Shizuku Yagashi, Kuki Amanogawa, and I forgot the last guy's name. Let's call him Musclehead. Everyone in the class was looking at them excitedly. Hajime also noticed them and looked at them for a second and then looked away outside. Probably thought they were way out of his league. Just as he was thinking that, many girls in the class were also thinking the same thing while looking at the guy in the middle, Kuki Amanogawa, the dumbass hero. I hate his character, especially now that I have resolved to go to Tortus. So, I will just ignore him for now. Oh, their seats are on the other side of the class, that's good. I don't have to see his ugly mug, I thought in satisfaction. I had a sudden idea. I called out to Hajime loudly enough to get noticed by Kuri. Hajime, hearing my loud voice, Kaori looked this way. I noticed that her eyes widened after looking at Hajime. My plan succeeded, aren't I a good wingman for my buddy? Hajime looked at me with tiredness and a little annoyance, so I asked him my prepared question. What club would you join? Isn't that obvious? Said Hajime. Obvious. You had a club in mind, I asked curiously. Hajime said, yeah. I asked what club, and he answered, Going Home Club. Hearing his answer, I just smack his back again and sit down on my seat. Tisk, and here I thought you had become less lazy. As expected of a protagonist, his mentality does not change so easily. For 1.5 years I have been trying to make him do some exercise, but he keeps refusing me. Well, it's his loss anyway, I will just jab at him from time to time. Just then the bell rang and the teacher entered the class. Oh, here comes another key player, Aiko Hatayama. She is a petite woman, almost a childlike figure with short dark brown hair and green eyes. Here comes Hajime's future teacher, wife. At least this 3 years of high school will be entertaining until shit hit the fan. Today's classes ended early, and most of the students left the classes quickly because they wanted to join clubs. In junior high I didn't join any club, most of my time I was focused on training with dad and working under Hajime. But this year I will have less load on my shoulders. I had already learned all there is to it from my father. We just spar weekly, and he sometimes checks out whether I am getting rusty or not. So, I and Hajime went to the kendo club. Why am I going to the kendo club? I want to see how skilled am I compared to Shizuku. She was the strongest in terms of pure swordsmanship, and I also want to flex a little, I can't forget that. Hajime grumbled behind, why am I going with you again? Because you are my best friend, that's why. He looked at me with flat eyes, and I told you I would not pull any pranks for a month. Ah, we are here. Oh, there is a fight going on, Looks like a girl and a boy. After hearing Rihito's voice, Hajime looked at the fight going on. Hajime is not a fighter, so he couldn't tell who was winning. So he asked Rihito, who trained with his father, what do you think, who would win according to you? Rihito hummed for a moment and answered, that the girl would win 100%. Hajime asked, why do you think so? Doesn't that guy have more power? Hearing what Hajime said, I clicked my tongue. Tisk, tisk, in a fighting, power is not the only means. That guy might have more power, but the girl is more skillful and experienced than the guy. She just blocked that guy's blow with ease, and just as I said, the girl in a flash swung her stick up and ending the fight in one hit. See, I told you. Just as the fight ended, both of them removed the head guard. I was able to see the faces of the two fighters. As I thought, it was Shizuku and the dumbass hero. As expected from Shizuku, she is very skilled, but that was not all she got. She was observing dumbass like a hawk, watching his every move so that she could counter him. In the midst of my thoughts, I heard a girl's voice behind me. Chapter end. If you like my story, please comment. I like to hear your thoughts. 14 comments, 0 vote. Chapter 4. Spar with Yagashi Shizuku, 2 halves. I looked in Hajime's direction and saw the girl, Kaori Shirasaki, was trying to talk to Hajime. I was amused to see him flustered. He was not used to pretty girls talking to him. Hajime looked in my direction and gave me the signal to help him in this situation, so I did what every best friend would do in a situation like this. I gave him a thumbs up. He looked at me like I threw him in front of a shark. I was having fun watching Hajime blush like a little girl trying to answer Kaori's questions. Of course, fun things never last, unfortunately. With a sigh, I looked at the other 3 coming this way. The dumbass hero was the first to speak. There you are, Kaori, we lost you for there. Telling her that, he looked at me. Do you want something from Kaori? No, she was the one who came here to talk to us, Rihito replied. Kaori, do you need something from them? Kuoki asked in confusion. No, I just wanted to talk with them, Kaori replied. Talk to me. She didn't even look at me, her entire focus was on Hajime, I thought in my head. Hearing that, I looked at the 3 newcomers. Kuki was like, oh, I see Kaori just wanted to make friends. Shizuku was a little suspicious of Kaori. They are best friends, she should know her the most, and the damn, I still don't know his name, let's just call him Musclehead was looking at me. Why? Then he focused his attention on Kuoki. Then Shizuku asked, are you here to join our club? The moment Shizuku said that, Hajime took those words as a lifeline and uttered them. My friend wanted to check out your club. So, I came with him. Shizuku then looked at me and then raised her eyebrows. Oh, did she notice that I am also a swordsman just looking at me once? That's impressive. If she can notice it, then she might be able to fight me for a few minutes. If I am not serious, or if I'm not trying to end it quickly, that is. Shizuku asked, so what do you think of our club? Rihito did not hold back his thoughts. Not much, honestly. I thought I would find a challenge here, but I was disappointed instead. Hearing my words, both Kuki and Musclehead were displeased. Hearing those words, Shizuku puzzledly asked, why? From what I can see, you are most skilled in swordsmanship in this club. Even upperclassmen might be unable to defeat you, and I can say with 100% surety you are weaker than me. So why should I join this club where everyone is weak? Hearing those words coming out from Rihito's mouth, everyone was dumbstruck. Even Hajime was shocked. The whole club was silent for a minute, and then an angry voice came from Rihito's side. You dared to look down on my friends. Oh, I thought dumbass would be the one to snap, but it was the musclehead who snapped first. Maybe because he a musclehead. He. I laugh at the joke in my head. He tried to grab my collar, so I grabbed his hand and twisted it in his back and then kicked him in his legs and locked him on the ground. You know it is very rude to assault someone. After seeing his friend on the ground, dumbass hero snapped from his daze and tried to help his friend, but before he could do something, I released his friend. You see, if you try to assault someone stronger than yourself, you will get hurt, so be careful from now on. Let's go, Hajime, I am getting bored now, we should go home. Just as I was about to leave the kendo clubroom, a clear voice came. Wait, how about having a spar with me? Shizuku asked. Oh, and why should I do that? I asked with a lazy smile. I can see that you are strong, so why not prove it by beating me? If you beat me, it will not be some supposed hawks everyone will claim. I looked at everyone present there. They were displeased and some of them were even hostile. Fine, let's do this. Hearing my answers, Shizuku smiled and said you should get dressed, but I rejected it instead. I don't need protection gear, a sword is all I need. Hearing my dismissal, an upperclassman snapped. You are looking down on us too much. In response to his outburst, I said with a lazy smile, you don't need to worry about someone stronger than you. Hearing my words, veins bulge on his head. Get ready, the match between Rihito Sakai and Shizuku Yagashi is about to begin. Match start. Neither of us moved from our place. Shizuku was trying to find an opening in Rihito's posture, but there was none. He was standing there lazily, but Shizuku could tell he was ready to attack. He was waiting for her to make the first move. He suddenly holds his wooden sword with one hand and pushes it forward parallel to the ground. Shizuku thought it was an opening. No, it was a trap. Shizuku was so focused on the match that she did not hear all the profanities directed towards Rihito. Beat him up, break his bones, fuck him up, etc. Hearing so many profanities, Rihito quote back, "Fuck you too, bastard." At that moment Shizuku thought, now is my chance, and she swung her wooden sword. Just as she tried to swat Rihito's wooden sword away, at the same time, Rihito twisted his wooden sword, dodged her wooden sword by a hair and tapped on her forehead with it. "I win." Everyone was stunned silence to see Rihito win in one blow. Even Shizuku was surprised that she lost so easily. She knew she was weaker than him. But still, she at the very least can put up a fight against him, or so she thought. She was a swordswoman, and even in her family dojo, no one except her father defeated her. But from the looks of things, he didn't take her seriously. He still had that lazy smile on his face, and the way he twisted his sword at the last moment told her he might be even more skilled than her father. That sword moved as if it's part of his own body. At that moment it finally dawned on her. Could it be he is a master? I didn't hear of anyone so young who is a master. Then Shizuku heard her best friend's voice calling out to her, "Shizu, are you okay? You are not hurt, are you?" "No, I am fine." Shizuku then declared that she had lost to Rihito, and as a respected swordswoman, she would accept her loss gracefully. The referee, who was as stunned as the audience, declared, in the sparring match between Yaegashi Shizuku and Sakai Rihito won the fight. Hearing the words of the referee, all the students didn't know what to feel. Just minutes ago they were cursing profanities at Rihito, but now he had beaten Yaegashi. After hearing the announcement, Rihito shrugs his shoulders. "Let's go, Hajime, we are getting late for home." After listening, Hajime snapped to reality, "Yes, let's go." Hajime did not want to stay here anymore. He was a simple guy, and he wanted to graduate peacefully, but after today's incident, he didn't know if that was even possible now. His best friend attracted more attention than he was comfortable with. The next day in school at lunchtime, Rihito thought there were a bunch of rumors spreading about him in the school. Some say he was a delinquent who beat up anyone, few say he threatened people for their money, and some say he was a member of the Yakuza. It was clear that the rumors were spread by the people who were dissatisfied with the previous day's sparring match. As for Rihito, does he care about some silly rumor? Hell no, as long as people close to him are okay with it, he doesn't care about silly rumors but instead welcomes it. So now I am a certified delinquent, he. Rihito thought while chuckling creepily. "So, you are here," a sudden voice came from his left side. Hearing a familiar voice, Rihito turned towards that voice. "Oh, Yaegashi, why are you here?" "I have a favor to ask you," Shizuku said. I raised my eyebrows with surprise. "What do you want?" I asked. "I want you to train me," Shizuku requested. "Request denied," Rihito instantly replied. This time it was Shizuku's turn to surprise, then asked, "Why will you not teach me?" Shizuku asked. "I mean, we only met yesterday, and then fought each other, and the most important thing, are we even friends?" "Then let me introduce myself. My name is Yaegashi Shizuku, it's nice to meet you." Hearing her introduction in a situation like this, I was amused. I should introduce myself to, "My name is Sakai Rihito, it is also nice to meet you, Yaegashi." "Then can you teach me now?" she asked again. Was she always this straightforward? I didn't know about her character that much, I only knew her from anime. "Honestly, why even you want to train under me? I know I am good with the sword, but you already have a teacher, so why not continue learning under your teacher?" "Yes, I do have a teacher, but with the last spar we had, I can tell you are far stronger than any of my instructors, even my father might lose to you, so I want to improve my swordsmanship under you," Shizuku answered. "So will you teach me?" Shizuku asked again. "Before I give my answer, I have a question for you. Depending on the answer, I might reject your request again. So, think before answering." Then all the laziness from Rihito was gone. The current him had a sharp look. His sharpness reminds Shizuku of her father when he teaches swordsmanship in the dojo. "Tell me, Yaegashi, what is a sword?" Hearing Rihito's question, Shizuku narrowed her eyes. Shizuku questioned, "What do you mean, Sakai?" "I am asking you what is a sword after removing all the unfiltered bias. If you can't answer that, then you should go back." Just as I was about to go back to class, Shizuku answered, "It's a weapon to protect people." Hearing the answer, Rihito chuckled, "Ha ha ha, not a bad answer, but not the one I wanted. So let me tell you, a sword is nothing more than a weapon to kill people. It is as lethal as it is pretty. Take your Yaegashi style as an example. It's quick and deadly, that style was made to kill people. I am pretty sure in your Yaegashi style there are some deadly techniques to kill people." Shizuku was shocked hearing those words. She never thought of it like that. I mean, who would? In this modern world there are deadlier weapons than swords. Guns, it's obvious who would win in a fight between a gun and a sword, and a gun is fast and efficient, easy to use with little training, and even with no training one can use it. But when it comes to swords, a long time is needed, need to learn a proper sword style, and train daily or you might get rusty, taking care of your sword and more. Then why is Sakai talking like that? It is as if he is preparing himself to kill people. Rihito smiled seeing Shizuku pondering. I think you have caught on to my thinking by now. Shizuku snapped and asked, are you seriously thinking about? Before she spoke the last word, she hurriedly checked if anyone was nearby. After making sure there was none, she spoke the last word, killing people. You know, after we graduate from school, I will join the military as a soldier. I think you know these soldiers are not just to guard countries, sooner or later I have to. So, why not prepare my mind from now? Hearing those words, Shizuku fell silent, she didn't know what to say anymore. Then suddenly school bell rang. We should get going, class is about to start, and about your request, I will accept it. After hearing my last words, Shizuku's eyes were wide. I like your answer, a weapon to protect people, I said with a genuine smile. Hearing those words, she blushed. She asked again, are you sure? I replied lazily, yeah. Hurry up or we will be late. Saying that we walked towards our classroom. While walking, Rihito thought, with this push, Shizuku might resolve herself sooner than the canon series. Shizuku is one of the characters that I liked in the anime. She was determined to save her friends from harm. She almost acted like their parents in the series. If I help her improve her skills, it will be less hassle for me once we get there. Chapter end. Thank you for all of your support. I am honestly having fun writing this fanfic, and please give me some reviews. It will help me greatly. 11 comments, 0 vote. Chapter 5, Before Transmigration. It's been 2 years and 6 months since I accepted Shizuku's request. Well, it was my first time accepting a student, and I didn't have any prior experience in teaching people. So, I did what I felt like. Well, on the first day of our training, I noticed some flaws in Shizuku's stance. So, I helped her fix it. After fixing that, she became more flexible in her movements. She kept thanking me after that. I told her it was no big deal. She also invited me to her family dojo and introduced me to her father. As I expected, her father was very strong, and we had a sparring match. At the end of the sparring match I won, but I can say for sure if my body wasn't superhuman I would have lost, and he also saw through that my primary weapon is not a katana but an odachi. I was seriously shocked to hear that. Seeing my shocked face, he laughed and told me not to worry about it, I wouldn't tell anyone, and kid, you have my approval. Damn, the people who are old are scary, and what with the approval part, approval for what? I didn't understand. Oh, the dumbass and the musclehead also wanted to fight me. So, in a fight, I acted like I had hit them in the wrong place by mistake, nothing too drastic, just a little poke on his crotch. No one blamed me. They know something like this happens sometimes except Shizuku. She may have caught on to me, and I did it purposely. She didn't say anything, just gave a deadpan look. Sometime after, I introduced Shizuku to my dad. I told her my father was the one who taught me swordsmanship. So she wanted to meet with my father. On one Sunday, I invited her, but for some reason, Dad looked at me amusingly and then told me to go outside to get some groceries, so I just shrugged my shoulders and bought it. When I came back, Shizuku was sitting on the sofa sipping some tea, but when she noticed me coming into the room, she turned red. I was confused. Did Dad tell you something weird about me? I asked Shizuku. She stammered to her speech, and no, nothing like that, it's getting late, I should go home, saying that she left. Seeing this, I just shrugged my shoulders. I kept training Shizuku, and while we sparred, I kept attacking at her openings. So, she learns to block and dodge those. When she gets used to my speed, I sometimes increase or decrease it just to make it tough for her. Whenever I do that, she gets annoyed. I laugh when she does that, but she still improves her skills and has won many competitions. Honestly, I feel proud seeing her win those. On a side note, I hear there is a cult in our school. They call themselves the Soul Sisters. Quite a creepy name if you ask me. For some reason, they are after me. From the beginning of school up to now, faced over 40 attempts of attack, nothing harmful, just trying to sabotage me in some way. Some come directly at me and say it's your fault, it's because of you, she is corrupted now, you vile creature. I was very confused. I corrupted who? I don't remember bullying any girls, and what with that vile creature Mambo Jambo, if I was evil this world would have been doomed. Oh, by bullying I remembered Hajime had been getting bullied. It started about 2 months after school started. It was Daisuke Hayama and his 3 goons. When I heard about this for the first time, I was almost about to beat the crap out of them, but Shizuku and Hajime stopped me. But just because they stopped me, doesn't mean I will not help my friend, so once I caught them in the act, I dealt with them, but after that Hajime asked me not to help him because if I do his plummeting down reputation will plummet even more. I asked him is he serious, he just looked at me determinedly. He is so stupid sometimes, I just agreed with him on the surface. From that day on, whenever Hayama and his 3 goons bully Hajime the next day, I bully them instead. Once, I was caught by Shizuku. So, I asked will you tell him, she just shook her head and said I know they deserved it, I will say nothing about this to him. So, I gave her a cheeky smile and thanked her, and she blushed for some reason. In a situation like this my otaku sense tingles sometimes, but I didn't understand why, so I just ignored them and walked toward my class, Shizuku joining beside me. Stupid, while, she muttered something. In these 2 years and 6 months, I became quite tall. I am currently 5 feet 9 and it's 176 centimeters, the same as in my previous life. From what I know I am taller than the original Rihito. Maybe because he was malnutrition, he was born at a tough time in his world. Hope I am not jinxing myself. And, just like that, the day finally came. 2 months later. Hajime Pav. Monday. The worst day of the week just started. Most people, if not all, will just sigh in defeat and start working because if they don't work, they can't support their family. So, they just grit their teeth and go with their day. And for Nagumo Hajime, it wasn't any different. However, in Hajime's case, it was not just a simple bother, the school was associated with a very bad feeling, probably because he was depressed. As always, when the last bell chimed at school, he opened the door to the classroom with his tired body from pulling an all-nighter. At that moment, Hajime received many glares and tongue-clicking from the majority of the male students in the classroom. The girls also did not have a friendly expression either. It was fine if the people were indifferent, but some had an expression of contempt directed at him. Hajime tried to play it off as he headed to his seat, but there were always people who would mess with him every time. Hey otaku! Did you play games all night again? Was it a porn game I wonder? Gross. Staying up all night to play porn games is super disgusting. I don't know, did they find this funny? The laughter came from Hayama Daisuke. He is the leader of the students who bully on Hajime sometimes. The 3 next to him with the stupid laughing were Saito Yoshiki, Kondo Reichi, and Nakano Shinji. These 4 were the ones that picked on Hajime the most frequently. As Hayama stated, Hajime was an otaku. Hajime's appearance and behavior were not that bad to be called kimuta, otaku and socially awkward, or to be ridiculed. His hair was trimmed short and he did not have bedhead hair. He did not have an assertive personality, but that did not mean he was antisocial. Besides, he could talk to people. He was quiet, but he did not give off a feeling of creepiness. Hajime simply liked things like manga, light novels, games, and movies. The criticism that otakus receive from society is certainly strong. Generally speaking, the degree of ridicule varies, but it never reaches open hostility. Yet, why do all the male students show unrestrained contempt and hostility? The answer was a girl. Nagumo-kun, good morning. Almost late, as usual, you should come earlier. The girl walks up to Hajime as she is smiling. In this class, no wait, this whole school, she is one of the few exceptions that treated Hajime friendly. Her name was Shirasaki Kaori. She is known as one of the 2 goddesses of the school, popular among both male and female students and known for her very beautiful looks. Kaori had long glossy black hair that reached her waist, and large slightly weeping brown color eyes that conveyed a sense of gentleness. She had a small straight bridge nose, and thin lips of sakura colors arranged to perfection. Always the girl with the endless smile, is very caring and has a strong sense of responsibility that often people, regardless of school year, rely on her help. She is always seen with a sincere expression without any unpleasantness, which is why it is hard to believe she was just a high school student. So, why does someone like Kaori treat Hajime so well? This has caused many sleepless nights for Hajime and the student body. He got average grades as a result. It was thought that it was because of Kaori's good nature that warranted the treatment. Now, people thought Hajime's class attitude should improve. If Kaori was dealing with an Eichmann, then it would have been acceptable. Unfortunately, Hajime was very ordinary, and his reputation for a life for hobbies did not see an improvement in his attitude. That a person like Kaori could be so friendly with Hajime, the ordinary male students could not stand it. Often, they think, why is it only him? The female students simply, because they believe Hajime is taking advantage of Kaori's kind nature, seem to be uncomfortable with them. Ah, good morning Shirasaki-san. Hajime's face stiffened up as he felt the bloodthirst from his classmates. So, he awkwardly returned the greeting. Hearing his greeting, Kaori happily smiled. Seeing this, Hajime screamed in his head. Why do you look at me like that? Hajime despaired because the bloodthirst just increased. Honestly, Hajime didn't know why Kaori, one of the most beautiful girls in the whole school, would care for him. There had to be something more, but Hajime knew there was nothing interesting about him. There is no way a girl like Kaori could ever fall in love with him. Hajime was tired of all this shit. He wanted to scream out, "It's all your fault," but he can't. He knew if he did that then he is doomed. All the harassment he received will be nothing compared to what will come after. Then suddenly 3 new people walked up to them. They waited until they finished their talk. Then a girl spoke, "Good morning, Hajime." This girl was none other than Shizuku Yagashi, Kaori's best friend. She was one of the few people who treated Hajime kindly. Her disposition looks like a samurai, and also her family runs a dojo that teaches Yagashi-style swordsmanship. She has appeared in many magazines. She also has a rabid fan base. She has never lost to anyone in an official battle, except that one time, but that was not an official battle. Then there was another voice, looking after him again, "Kaori, you are really too nice for your own good." This was from Amanagawa Kuki, one of the childhood friends of Kaori. He is what you call an Eichmann. He is athletic, has a good face, has a high score in the class, has a sense of justice, and has a cool name. I mean, it literally means heavenly light. I saw this in wiki, so I made this up. The last guy was Sakagami Ryutaro, who stayed silent and stared at Hajime. He was a big-statured guy who liked hot-blooded things and had a motto of hard work. He disliked Hajime because he lazed around in class. Hajime sighed in his head and greeted all 3 of them. But maybe all the boys in the class did not like that. They glared at him. The look on their face told him, "What gives you the right to talk to Yagashi like that?" Hajime sighed again. He did not know how many times he sighed in one day. Then suddenly a new guy entered the classroom. "Oh, having fun without me? Let me in on your talk too." Hearing that voice, the whole class went silent because that voice came from Sakai Rihito, who is said to be a delinquent. There are many bad rumors about him in the whole school, and he doesn't do to clear any of them. So many people believe them to be true, except people like Hajime, Shizuku and Kaori. Other than them, everyone thinks he is not a good guy, so they avoid him. Hajime heard the familiar voice sigh in relief and looked at him resentfully. He thought, why did he come late? Hajime grumbled, he won't say this, but he really appreciates his friend. Because of him all the death stares just vanished. Once Hayama had heard, Rihito was friends with me, so he also tried to bully him, but it backfired on him. Rihito beat the crap out of Hayama and his 3 goons without even getting a scratch. So, everyone knew not to pull anything in front of Rihito. Rihito greeted, "Good morning, Shizuku, Hajime," and Kaori, saying that he went behind Hajime and sat down in his seat, watching everything play out with an amusing look on his face. Chapter end. Hello everyone, I will be releasing new chapters every 3 days. I'm taking my time to plan the story intricately. I apologize for any inconvenience. 11 comments, 0 vote. Chapter 6, The Dumb Hero. Rihito was sitting on his desk and observing the happening around the class. A few girls were laughing at their friends' jokes, some boys were grumbling about why is Hajime talking with the 2 goddesses of our school, and even some of the girls were displeased. Did they not have something better to do than to criticize Hajime all day? Rihito was watching with a lazy look. Then I heard Kuki asking why is Hajime taking advantage of Kaori. Hearing it, I was amused again. Taking advantage of Kaori? Hajime doesn't even want to get close to her, but Kaori won't let him get away. If only this guy turned off his filter of righteousness, then he might be able to see who is taking advantage of whom. But, instead of Hajime, Kaori answered, "I am talking to him because I want to." Hearing those words, Kuki was baffled, but some kind of understanding came to him. Here we go again, the filter of righteousness working again. Watching me sitting alone, Shizuku came towards me and asked, "What are you thinking about?" I looked with a deadpan at Shizuku and said, "I am watching a dumbass who needs a beating to get his head straight." Seeing my expression, she sighed. Shizuku knew that Kuki's righteousness blinds him from making a proper judgment of a situation. After all, she was also once a victim of his righteousness. Just then the school bell rang and everyone got to their seats. Then teacher Aiko entered the class and started to take attendance. Just when I was waiting for my name to come, I sensed something. It was similar to Ki but different. I had never sensed this kind of energy before. Then it suddenly clicked in my head that this was mana, and just as I thought, a big magic circle covered the whole floor of the class. At that moment I only had one thought: so, it was finally here. Just as he thought that, all of them disappeared. On that day, a class full of people disappeared without a trace, and it became a hot topic for media outlets. World Tour 2s. Inside a cathedral, around 30 people are praying in a hall in front of a mural. In this mural, a blonde man with a halo on his back was spreading his hands all over the mural. In the background there were forests, seas, and some cities. It was a beautiful mural. Then suddenly in the hall, on top of a pedestal, a big magic circle appeared. After seeing this magic circle, an old man around the age of 70 with the most luxurious clothing said, "Keep praying, our God has answered our call." Hearing those words, all the priests looked at the mural in a zealous manner. Then the magic circle shone dazzlingly. Slowly the magic circle started to disappear, and on a pedestal instead of the magic circle, there were some teens in there. As expected of our God, not just one, he sent us many heroes, thought the old man zealously. As the magic circle did its work, I started to observe my surroundings. We were in a majestic hall, floor made of white tile, a big chandelier hanging from the ceiling, and there were a bunch of people in priest robes. In the middle of that priest there was an old man who wore the most luxurious robes of all the priests. I thought that might be the Pope of this church. Then, I looked around to see if we were missing someone or not. After making sure everyone was present, I focused my attention on Hajime. He was staring somewhere. I followed his gaze and found a mural. A blonde man spreading his hand around the world. It's almost like he is trying to take it all. That mural gave me an ominous feeling. At that time that old man smacked the bottom of his staff on the ground, making a loud sound. The old man spoke with a clear and calming voice that was fitting of his appearance. "Welcome to Tortus, heroes. We were expecting you. I am the currently appointed Pope of the Saints' Church. You may address me as Ishtar Lombard. Let's get along from now on, no need to exchange conventional greetings." After he introduced himself, the old man called Ishtar revealed a smile that was often associated with nice elderly people. After that, we moved toward a few 10-meter-long dining tables lined up side by side. We passed several halls that also had the same kind of dining tables. This hall was just as gorgeous as the rest. Even an amateur could understand. The furniture, the decorative paintings, the murals, and everything here was the artistical masterpiece. Perhaps, this place was used to take a meal or hold a meeting. In the seats of honor were Hadakeyama Aiko and Kuki's group of 4. After that, the other students took their seats in sequence, and Hajime and I sat at the end. Nobody caused much disturbance as they were guided here. Perhaps they were still unable to keep up with reality. The Pope Ishtar started to explain the situation. Perhaps it was due to Kuki's existence that everyone was able to remain calm. Being surrounded by the students who looked more like the teacher, Teacher Aiko was getting teary-eyed. When everyone was seated, with precise timing, many maids entered with pushing carts. That's right, real maids. These were the genuine maids in every man's dream, the beautiful maids. Under this kind of circumstance, most of the male students were tempted by their burning desires, and most of them fixed their gaze on the maids. But the girls were sending cold glares at them. Even I am having a hard time looking away from the maids. It's not that their beauty caught me. In terms of beauty, Shizuku and Kaori are far ahead of any of the maids present. It's the simple fact that they were real maids like anime. Damn, I also want a maid of my own. Having a maid is every man's dream. Just as I thought that, I felt a piercing gaze coming this way. I discreetly searched for the gaze, then saw Kaori and Shizuku looking at me and Hajime disapprovingly. I was a little confused. I understand why Kaori is looking this way. What about Shizuku? Is she also looking at Hajime? Is my friend's harem already starting to form? Damn, I am jealous. Ishtar started his explanation after confirming that everyone had received their drinks. Ishtar started to speak. "I'm sure you are all confused. I will explain the situation first. I only ask everyone to listen to everything I have to say until the end." So, Ishtar started to explain how this is a different world from our own. This world, its name is Tortus. This world is divided into 3 factions: humans, demons, and demi-humans. The humans ruled over the northern area, the demons ruled over the southern area, and the demi-humans lived quietly in the wilderness to the east. Among these factions, the war between the humans and demons has been ongoing for several centuries. The demons were inferior in numbers compared to the humans, but each demon possessed formidable strength. We only managed to fend them away because of the large quantity of humans. Both sides have not been engaged in a large-scale war over the past few decades, but something abnormal has been taking place recently. It was the deployment of magic beasts by the demons. You might be thinking, what are magic beasts? They are normal animals who have taken in huge amounts of magic and mutated themselves into what we call magic beasts. A magic beast loses its reason after its transformation, and it attacks anything that gets near them. For some reason, demons were able to control this magic beast, destroying our common sense, and with this, we have lost our advantage in the number. Just when they were talking about their god, Rihito's body felt strange. He felt something flowing in his body, something new, something that was not there. Rihito panicked, but it only lasted for a second. His father had taught him, in situations like this panicking is not the answer, so calm yourself, and calm your heart. He took control of his breathing and tried to observe his body. So, my powers were finally here. I waited 6 years for this, and he was very excited. With the power of less than Archmage greater than, he controlled his magic and acted like normal again. Unknown to anyone, his eyes were glowing in crimson until he took control of his power. After calming down from his excitement, he started to listen to the talk. They were currently talking about how we can't go back anymore. This talk is going the same as stated in the anime. It should be about the time that dumbass will start spouting nonsense. Kuki smacks the table with his right hand. Hearing the loud sound, bang, every panicking student looked at Kuki reflexively. When he confirmed that he had everyone's attention, Kuki began to talk. Everyone, it is meaningless to make so much ruckus in front of Ishtar. He also had no other choice. What I mean is, let's fight. It is a fact that the humans of this world are facing a crisis. Ignoring their pleas for help after knowing all this, I cannot do it. Moreover, since we were summoned here to save mankind, we may be able to return after this is all over. Ishtar-san, isn't that right? That's right. Lord Ehid will answer the wishes of the saviors. We all have special powers, right? I've indeed felt an unfathomable power surging up within me since coming to this world. Yes, that's right. Roughly, each of you should possess powers that are several times to a few dozen times more powerful than the people of this world. Yes, in that case, I'll fight. I'll save the people, and then we can all go home. Regardless of the world or everyone here, I will save them all. Kuki clenched his fist tightly as he made this kind of declaration, while pointlessly exposing shiny teeth. Just as he ended his speech, his charismatic leadership finally took effect. The students who had given up all hope earlier gradually regained their calmness and vigor. They were looking at Kuki with sparkling eyes. That was the expression one would reveal when they found hope in despair. Half of the female students sent feverish glances at him. Rihito looked at all this with an empathetic look on his face. Have they forgotten to use their damn head? Did they not hear Ishtar asking us to participate in a war? Do they not understand what war is? Then Kuki's best friend also spoke up. Ah damn, once you put it like that. It would be worrisome to let you go alone. I'll also fight. Wow, dumbass and musclehead, a match made in heaven. Will Shizuku also join in? If she does, I will be very disappointed. But contrary to my expectation, she didn't. She just sat there thinking something. Seeing this, I raised an eyebrow, and because Shizuku didn't join, Kaori also didn't join in. All the other students were swayed by Kuki's charisma and approved his decision. Teacher Aiko tried to stop them, but no one listened to her. In front of Kuki's charisma, her words didn't hold any weight. Hajime called out to me, "Hey, what do you think of all this?" I replied, "That's the stupidest thing I heard in my whole life, and we don't even know if what they are saying is the truth or not." Hearing my reasoning, Hajime sighed in relief and said, "We should be vigilant." Yeah, for now, let's keep our heads down and watch. Chapter end. Please don't forget to bring the Power Stone. It will greatly motivate me. 14 comments, 0 vote. Chapter 7, Status. I watched them with a dull look on my face, while most of my classmates cheered about how they will save humans from crisis. Well, it doesn't matter what they want to do, I have my reason for coming here. From the moment Rihito got the chance to travel to this world, his only goal was to get all the Age of God magic. Everything will come after that. For now, I will wait until Hajime fall into the abyss. For some reason, Hajime got a chill down his spine. After everyone had made their decision, Ishtar led us outside. We found ourselves on top of a mountain, which, according to Ishtar, was almost as large as Mount Everest. This is quite the view, I said admiringly. Then, Ishtar took us towards a pedestal. The pedestal looked similar to the one we saw inside. Maybe it also had magic ingrained into it. I concealingly used my archmage to analyze. I was astonished. It was floating magic with a simple command system to go up or to go down, but that's not what made me shocked. I was shocked because floating magic is a degenerated form of gravity magic. Then I remembered, the Liberators, one of their members had gravity magic, maybe she was the one who made this. It's good for me I got the floating magic, I will try this out later. The pedestal started to float down toward the Hyli Kingdom. Wow, what an advertisement at its finest, making us look like God's apostle has come from the sky to help. What an easy way to make their church look good in people's eyes. We finally stepped down from the pedestal, and then Ishtar started to lead us to the king's castle. I just followed everyone from behind, and Hajime also joined me. While we walked, everyone we came across just bowed in reverence, and I just ignored them. Then we came across giant doors. On each side there were guards standing beside them, and without any delay, they opened the door. There we are introduced to the king, queen, prince, and princess. Prince's name was Lundel Hyli, who was 10 years old, and princess's name was Liliana Hyli, who was 14 years. As they talked, Prince Lundel tried to gain Kaori's attention, but I found the situation amusing. Despite his attempts to woo her in front of everyone, it was obvious to me that his tactics would not work on Kaori. I couldn't help but feel sorry for him, as it was clear that he would have had better luck with any other girl. After that, they discussed how this kingdom would take care of us and train us from today onwards. After we had dinner we were shown our room to take a rest for today onwards. The room I got was very luxurious. Damn, I meant a spacious room with a king-size bed with golden decorations with a small artistic-looking table beside it. The whole room was extravagantly decorated, hell it even has a balcony. After going through my whole room I sat down in my bed. I have noticed that the archmage seems to be overpowered. It not only enhances my memory and improves my cognitive abilities, but also grants me the ability to use any type of magic, including race-specific ones. Additionally, it provides me with a magic reactor that supplies me with an infinite amount of energy, be it mana, ki or any other type of magic. As I was contemplating everything, I found myself slumping in my bed. Suddenly, I heard a knock at my door. Knock knock. The sound immediately jolted me out of my laziness, and I felt ready for anything. I permitted the person outside to enter, saying, "Come in." The door opened and she entered. I didn't expect it to be her. "Oh, Shizuku. What brings you here?" I relaxed a little bit upon seeing that it was her but remained cautious. Shizuku, seeing my lazy face, just sighed. "Tell me, Rihito, what do you think about all this?" Depends on what you are asking about, be more specific," Rihito replied. "Then what do you think of our decision to go to war?" Shizuku asked. "First of all, I never said I would go to war, you guys did. Second, I don't give a fuck about others who don't give a damn about me." Hearing my reply she sighed. "So, what will you do for now?" Shizuku asked. "For now, I will go with the flow and master my new powers, everything comes after," I replied. "By the way, I also have a question for you. Why you didn't agree with Kuki's decision? I was about 70% sure you would agree with him," I asked. She looked at me deadpan. "Do you think that little of me?" she inquired with narrowed eyes. Now, don't go all angry at me. I have been watching, you know. You've been going around cleaning his mess for about 2 years and you might be doing this for even longer, so it was an obvious question to ask," I replied. "You acted more like a mother than a friend to him." Hearing that I had been watching her all this time she blushed and said in panic, "It's getting late, I should get going," Shizuku said. As I heard her voice, I looked outside and noticed that it was getting dark. "It's getting dark, good night then." "Good night," saying that she left. The next day after breakfast. In training ground. "Hello, heroes from another world, I am Captain Commander Meld Loggins. I will be the head instructor for all of you. I and my colleague will be training you in martial arts and weapon techniques. For now, we will be handing down this artifact, it is called the status plate. It will show all the status of its bearer, you only have prick your finger, drop a little blood, and then say status open, it will show you your status. It also works as your identification in this world, so do not lose it." "Excuse me Sir Meld, I have a question," Kuoki asked. "No need to call me so respectively, we will be comrades in the future. So, you can call me by my name Meld," Meld told us with a sunny smile. "So, Meld, what is an artifact?" Kuoki asked, wanting to know what exactly artifact term means in this world. "You guys don't know about it, right? Let me explain. The artifact is a powerful tool that cannot be reproduced with modern means. It is said that they were created when God still roamed this land. The status plate is one of the artifacts he left behind that is the only artifact that can be reproduced. It is usually called a national treasure rather than an artifact, but it is distributed to the general public. First, there is level. Your level will increase when your other status increases, training will help increase those statuses, and artifacts will also increase status, but that will be given to you later. By the way, level 100 is the maximum for humans, no one up till now has reached that point. You can take the level as the person's potential. The second is class. Classes can be very powerful and some might be not much. There are common classes and unique classes. Your status increase will depend on what class you have. After hearing what Meld said, I looked at the plate which was 12 centimeters wide and 7 centimeters in length, then poked my finger without reservation and dropped my blood on the plate, saying the word, status open. The status plate shines in crimson red. Seeing that my mana color is crimson red, I chuckled. Then I noticed that other than me almost everyone was looking at the needle with an ugly face. Let's think about them later. Status. Name, Sakai Rihito. Age, 17 years. Gender, male. Level, 1. Class, Flash Baron. Strength, 100. Vitality, 100. Resistance, 100. Agility. Magic. Magic resistance, 100. Skills. Flashing strike, flashing slash, superhuman speed, superhuman leap, speed strike, speed throwing, light slash, bloodlust, shockwave manipulation, slashing aura, superhuman reflexes, weapon mastery, combat mastery, meditation, super adaptable body, language comprehension. Magic. Floating magic. End. While observing my status plate, I raised an eyebrow. The skills were all from the original Rihitos, but the weapon and combat mastery were the fruits of grueling training. I nearly shed a tear when I thought about those dark days. But these other two, if I'm not mistaken, are Archmage and Blank. It looks like this status plate is not strong enough to scan them. Thinking about this, I have a devious smile on my face. I heard everyone bragging about their skills and status. I ignored them and went towards Hajime. He was looking at his status plate with distress. Hey Hajime, are you alright? You look distressed, I asked. Seeing me, Hajime came towards in hurriedly and asked, show me your status plate. Calm down, and here, I handed him my status plate to see, and after watching my status plate he became even more distressed. Oh, are you okay? I asked with a little worry. Well, I knew why he was distressed, but I can't tell him about it. So, we'll act like the worried friend. All right people. By now you should all have activated your status plate. We will inspect your status plate to see what kind of training you guys will need, so be ready. Hearing Meld, Kuki was the first one to show his status. Status. Name, Amanogawa Kuki. Age, 17 years. Gender, male. Class, hero. Level, 1. Strength, 100. Vitality, 100. Resistance, 100. Agility, 100. Magic power, 100. Magic resistance, 100. Skills. All elemental aptitude, all elemental resistance, physical resistance, complex magic, swordplay, Herculean strength, ground shrink, foresight, high-speed magic recovery, presence perception, magic perception, limit break, language comprehension. Magic. Light magic. End. After looking at Kuoki's status, Meld looked at Kuki with excitement. Wow, a real hero. Your status is all in 3 digits and you also have a large number of skills. We will depend on you in future. Meld said this with admiration. Hearing this, Kuoki felt shy. After that, Meld started checking everyone's status with a smile. Seeing that everyone had a combat-related class, he was happy. Then, Hajime brought him his status board. Status. Name, Nagumo Hajime. Age, 17 years. Gender, male. Class, Synergist. Level, 1. Strength, 10. Vitality, 10. Resistance, 10. Agility, 10. Magic power, 10. Magic resistance, 10. Skills. Transmutation, language comprehension. Magic. End. EH. Meld gave a confused groan and then he slapped the status board a few times. Maybe he thought it was defective. After realizing that the plate wasn't broken, Meld said. Ah. As I should say, Synergist represents a crafting profession. Plus it's very convenient for forging weapons and armor. Hearing that Hajime has a non-combat job, Hayama and his 3 goons started to mock Hajime. Upon seeing them, I gave them a cold look, while Shizuku and Kaori glared at them. Meld suddenly said, "You are the last one, right?" "Yes," I answered and handed my status plate to him. After looking at my status plate, Meld was silent. Meld, after looking at this status, didn't know what to do anymore. At first, this status was similar to Kuki, but the agility and magic were showing nothing, and he had a class that he never heard before. It might be a unique class. He then tried to check by smacking the artifact and see in the light that this was broken. After making sure it was not, he handed it back. "Kid, I don't know what to tell you about your class. It might be a unique class that had never appeared before, but looking at your skills I can say it's a combat class and about your magic and agility. I don't know what happened. As for your magic, it is called floating magic. You can use it to make objects and people, including yourself, float." Hearing Meld's words, everyone was curious to see Rihito's status, but nobody dared to approach him. According to their impression, Rihito was not a good guy, so everybody avoided him. Rihito noticed that Shizuku and Kaori started to walk towards him and Hajime. Shizuku asked, "Let me see your status." Rihito then gave her his status plate, while Kaori consoled Hajime. Shizuku wasn't surprised to see Rihito's high status. If Kuki could have a high status, then Rihito should as well, or even higher, or so she thought. But, why is magic and agility like this? Maybe it's some kind of bug. Before Shizuku could ask, Rihito told her not to worry about it. He then glanced at a disgruntled Hajime who was being comforted by Kaori and Aiko. Chapter end. 18 comments 0 vote. Chapter 8. Before Dungeon. It's been 2 weeks since we got here. I have been training secretly to master my power, and with Archmage's help, it became a lot easier. I tested superhuman speed, superhuman leap, speed strike, speed throwing, shockwave manipulation, and shockwave blast. I can recall when I used superhuman speed, making everyone around me appear to move at a snail's pace. I sensed a huge amount of mana was in use to keep me in this state. Honestly, I might be saying this quite a few times, but Archmage is a real cheat. If I didn't have Archmage, I don't know how would I sustain my super speed for a long amount of time. So, while everyone was slowed in time, I got out of the castle and tested my powers. Superhuman leap, just like it says, I can jump extremely high with this ability. Next was speed strike, which helps me gather all the momentum while I am in my super speed, and strike things with all the momentum I gather. That was scarily strong, and same goes for throwing. Next was I can manipulate any shockwave I create, and then shockwave blast. With this I can target specific object with my shockwaves. So, I can do pretty cool stuff with my speed now, like creating after images, running on walls, creating shock waves, jumping high, throwing things at the speed of sound, and many more. But I haven't shown this to anyone yet. For them, I am just a fast swordsman. Currently, I and Shizuku were sparring with wooden swords. I aimed a slash towards her head, and she blocked it with her Yagashi-style sword art, Thunderclap, and tried to elbow me in my shoulder, but I easily dodged it, then tried to slash her chest. She still blocked it with her another of her techniques, Blade Reversal. A precise upward slash came at me. But it still wasn't fast enough to touch me. I easily dodged it and hit her on the shoulder, ending the practice. It is cheating to use my speed in a fight. But that doesn't mean I will be cocky, because I know with the Age of Gods magic anyone with a large amount of mana could be a threat. So, it's better not to get carried away. I praised Shizuku. "You are getting better and better with your sword. With your current mastery you could easily beat your dad. But my target is you," Shizuku mumbled in a low voice. "Tomorrow we will be going to Orcus Labyrinth to see all the training we have done in practice. It will be also when Hajime falls into the abyss, and I will go after him. It's about time I get out of this place." Then suddenly I saw Hayama and his 3 goons dragging Hajime into a secluded corner. Shizuku also noticed this. She was about to go scold them, but I held her hand and stopped her. She looked at me confusingly. "I will go and stop them. You should go bring Kaori here. He might be injured already. We will need a healer." After hearing my reasoning, Shizuku hurriedly went to find Kaori. After she was gone, my eyes turned cold and looked in Hayama's direction. This could be a good opportunity to test my bloodlust skill, I thought coldly. I stealthily approached behind them and watched the situation. One of Hayama's goons threw a fire spell at him. Hajime somehow managed to dodge the first spell, but then another one came at him. It was a wind spell that flung him to the ground. I quickly activated my bloodlust skill and targeted Hayama and 3 of his goons. A chilling cold voice came out of my mouth as I asked, "What do you think you're doing?" Taking my bloodlust at point-blank range, every one of them froze in fear except Hajime. I excluded him from the effects of bloodlust. Hayama was scared seeing so much bloodlust, that Hayama and his 3 goons felt as though a sharp sword was at their necks, ready to take their lives. You 4 still hadn't changed, I said with mock sadness. How about I treat you like old times? I said with a malicious smile. Hearing Rihito's voice made Hayama turn pale. Hayama understood what Rihito meant by old time when he was about to say something. Shizuku came with Kaori, and not to my surprise dumbass and musclehead came with them. Kaori quickly healed Hajime and asked, "Are you okay, Hajime?" With a worried expression on her face. She glared at Hayama and his gang, questioning, "Did you hurt Hajime?" Hayama panicked upon noticing that Kaori, the girl he liked, was looking at him in that way. No, we were just training him. We were helping Hajime, followed up his gang. Oh, beating someone with a sword and throwing magic without giving him a single chance to attack back is considered training, then I may have been doing something wrong all this time with my training, I retorted from the side. Hearing my retort and the increased intensity of Kaori and Shizuku's glare, Hayama just ran away, and seeing him his gang also ran after him. I watched this with an expressionless face. I walked toward Hajime. "Are you okay?" I asked and he nodded. "Let me help you get to your room." He shook his head in denial. "I will go to the library." Hearing Hajime, Kuki says with a righteous tone, "You should be training more, if you trained more, they won't be hurting you." I gave a look at Shizuku which said, "Why did you bring this guy?" Shizuku understood what I wanted to say. She just shrugged her shoulders and didn't say anything. So, I just ignored Kuki's rambling and took Hajime to the library, where I also joined him in reading. Next day. We spent the night at an inn near the dungeon, preparing for our exploration that would begin the next day. It was the night before the day we would start exploring the dungeon. We were currently in an inn near the dungeon spending the night. Each room had its own pair of students assigned. In my case, I was assigned to Hajime. Currently, Hajime is reviewing his knowledge about Orcus Dungeon and I was looking at my status. Status. Name, Sakai Rihito. Age, 17 years. Gender, male. Level, 56. Class, Flash Baron. Strength, 850. Vitality, 850. Resistance, 850. Agility. Magic. Magic resistance, 850. Skills. Flashing strike, flashing slash, superhuman speed, superhuman leap, speed strike, speed throwing, light slash, bloodlust, shockwave manipulation, shockwave blast, slashing aura, superhuman reflexes, weapon mastery, combat mastery, meditation, super adaptable body, language comprehension. Magic. Fire magic, water magic, wind magic, earth magic, dark magic, light magic, barrier magic, healing magic, fertility magic, floating magic. End. Quite the types of magic I have gotten. I have all 4 elements. Can I be considered the avatar now? I amusingly thought to myself. At that time suddenly the door was knocked, knock knock. Hajime looked at me and then went towards the door. "Nagumo, are you still awake?" "It's me, Shirasaki. Can I bother you for a moment?" "What?" For a moment he froze and looked at me again. I raised an eyebrow and then remembered something. Hajime then hurriedly opened the door. Kaori was standing there with a snow-white negligee on. He tried not to stare too much at Kaori. Although he didn't have too much interest, he was still an adolescent boy. The current appearance of Kaori was slightly too stimulating. Seeing all this I was amused, but I will give them alone time. I gonna go get some fresh air, that time should be enough to complete the talk you guys will having, saying that I left them alone in the room, but I noticed Kaori looked at me a little gratefully. I walked outside of the inn and looked at the sky. The glittering stars shone in the night sky. In my old world, I would have never seen such a sight. I noticed right beside the inn there were few benches, so I decided to sit there and enjoy the night sky. While I was sitting there, I was thinking. Tomorrow would be the day everything would begin. So, what should I do? Should I let Hajime suffer a fate worse than death, and let him grow into the monster of the abyss, or should I help him from the start? I don't know what to do. If I save him, everything will change, and a new unknown future will wait for us. Even with all of my powers I am not sure what will happen. Thinking about all this complicated shit makes my head hurt. Why can't Archmage's genius intellect work in this kind of thinking? It works on complicated magic calculations just fine but not in this. Let's think about it simply. Am I willing to take the role of the protagonist? Hell no. I am as good as I am now. So, that means I won't interfere in Hajime's character development. Alright, I will go through it tomorrow. I resolve myself. Rihito, is that you? As soon as I heard that voice, my gaze instinctively shifted towards her, and I found myself frozen in place. There she was, Shizuku, dressed in a light purple negligee that complemented her every curve and contour. I couldn't help but utter a few words under my breath, beautiful, before I realized it. Hearing those words leave my lips, she froze and blushed a deep shade of red to her ears. It was when I realized my stupid mistake and attempted to change the conversation in a different direction, saying, "It's quite the beautiful night we are having." She said in a light stutter, "Why, yes." We were both silent for a few minutes, and the silence was unbearable. I never thought I would say this, but I wanted to bury myself somewhere. Shizuku finally started to talk, "So why are you here right now?" "Oh, nothing, it's just that two lovebirds have something to talk about, and I don't want to be a third wheel in between them. So, I came here until they finished their chat." After hearing me, her eyes widened. She came close to me and asked urgently, "Was it Kaori?" Unknown to me, my face turned a little shade of red. I replied, "Who other than Kaori would come to talk with Hajime this late?" Shizuku was stumped by my retort. She puffed her cheeks and looked away. "She looks cute like that. Now that I think about it, she is totally my type. Why didn't I think about this before? Did I discipline myself too much? Am I becoming a musclehead too?" Just then Shizuku called out to me, "Are you okay?" Seeing her worried, my head cooled down. "Don't worry, I am perfectly fine." I should tell her an excuse before chaos breaks out tomorrow. She will at least have an idea of what I will be doing at least. "Hey, Shizuku, I need to tell you something. I have decided that after we go through this Orcus dungeon, I will leave this kingdom and go outside to see the world." After hearing me, Shizuku looked at me with a puzzled expression and asked, "Why do you want to go?" "I have many reservations about whatever this kingdom telling us about. From the beginning, I have never trusted anyone from this kingdom. I stayed here until now to get the minimum knowledge about this world, which I have now, so it's imperative for me to stay here any longer, and you already know, I don't give a shit about this kingdom and the war. So, before I go, I wanted to tell you. I will also tell Hajime that if he wants to come with me, I will bring him with me. I would have asked you to come with me too, but I am sure you will deny my request. You are too kind to leave them behind and come with me." Shizuku fell silent upon hearing those words because everything Rihito said was true. She doesn't want to leave her classmates alone, who knows what will they do if there isn't anybody to supervise them. "I think I will head to my room, good night," saying that I left. After Rihito left, Shizuku had a bitter smile. She said in a small voice, "I also want to go with you, but I can't just leave them behind." Chapter end. Next chapter. My accidental isekai life as a plunderer. RoneGreninja. Enjoy this book so far? Sign in to find out more. Sign in later. Prologue.